everyone, I'm really happy to see you here. Welcome to Yeap Art House. I'm Mrs. Yeap. In this tutorial, I'm going to share with you 4 different ways to shade which are commonly used to depict the visual quality of forms, surfaces, and textures in any 3-dimensional subject matters. Following my last video tutorial, which I have introduced the way to see and shade different tonal values, this tutorial aims to share you some tips to improve your shadings in particularly pencils or color pencils. Do check out the video above for more explanation on tonal values. The 4 methods I'm going to demonstrate to you in this tutorial are blending, stippling, hatching, and cross-hatching. Let's start! The first method, blending. Blending means to create a smooth transition between tones without having to see a separation line between 2 areas. First, we need to shade the surface according to the values which we can observe. Do keep your shading in one direction or circularly. Avoid shading with random lines. I like to shade from light to dark in the same direction. If you are new to this, you can try to shade at 40 to 45 degrees if the surface does not suggest a strong vertical or horizontal direction. Do darken the core shadow by layering over the previous layer to build stronger contrast. Once I have laid down the tones, I can now blend the different areas with a paper stump or tissue paper. A paper stump gives you better control and you could blend small area easily. After blending with the blending tool, I like to touch up the darkest area, the edges of the object, and also the lines which separate the object from the holding surface, in this case, between the egg and the table surface. It is important to ask the question which side is darker and shade the tone accordingly. With this, we separate the 2 areas with tones, not by outline. Now, let's move on to the second method, stippling. Stippling means to create shades with dots. Yes, just dots. Different from blending technique, which build darkness of tone by layering the shading, stippling uses spaces between dots to suggest the various values. An area which is darker has more dots compared to a lighter area. In other words, the darker the area you want to shade, the more dots you need to draw, and the dots should appear close to one another. Control the strength that you use in stippling and not to poke too hard. You will tire your hand quickly and the dots may not look too good. To me, it's easier to start from the darkest area while using this method. While this method can be therapeutic, I do not use it often to make a whole drawing. I often use it to depict grainy, uneven, or rough surfaces. The third method, hatching. I would like to introduce you a new word, contour line. To shade with hatching technique, you will need to recognize the invisible contour line on any smooth surface. For example, the contour on the egg is curved, whereas contour on the table is straight. Thus, curved lines are suitable for round surfaces and straight lines are suitable for flat surfaces. Similar to stippling, the spacing between the lines could change the darkness of the shaded area. The closer the lines, the darker the tone we will get. Of course, we could also achieve light value by drawing lightly with thin lines, or pressing down harder while drawing thicker and darker lines. Last method, cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is my favorite shading technique as it is fast and I could save the hassle to blend with blending tools if I do not intend to create a very refined drawing. Cross-hatching is a combination of blending and hatching technique. While shading with this method, I start from the darkest tone so that I could blend the tones out easily later at the lighter part. You could also try to start with the lightest tone by hatching in the first direction, diagonal left, then move on to the mid-tone and stroke in another direction, diagonal right. Subsequently, to build up the tone in the shadow area, you just have to keep adding on lines of different direction, be it in vertical or horizontal, to build up the darkness. A note to remember, while you're hatching the lines, avoid drawing all lines at the same length, as it may create a very distinct edge between 2 areas of different tones, which is not ideal. We want the different tones to blend into one another. Layering with strokes of different length and strength could help you to achieve the result you want. Enhance the contrast and make the eggs look more 3D. I like to push the darkest tone darker and the lightest tone lighter to achieve greater contrast as the last step of my drawing practice. Let me summarize the key points of this tutorial. Blending is good for smooth surfaces such as skins, drapery, or clothing. Stippling is good for grainy surfaces like those on the rocks or stones. Hatching is good for surfaces which have clear flowing lines such as hair, ripples, or waves. Lastly, cross-hatching is good for any surface as long as the direction of hatching is in control. The different methods of shading usually are not used singularly. They are often used together to depict the visual quality of the surface we are drawing. As an object may have different parts, it is always essential to think through the shading methods you would like to deploy at different areas. Do check out this video which I have done previously to see how different shading techniques were used to complete the coloring. If you like this tutorial, do give me a like and subscribe to the channel for more art-related tutorial updates in the future. See you in the next video.